Hey guys, J77 here doing another audio topic, and the audio topic is the status of the movie theaters in terms of attendance and revenue numbers. The 2011 overall revenue projection have came through. The results was needed to say was not good at all. In fact, they have soared as the lowest numbers that they have seen in over 16 years, to be exact. There's a lot of reasons for this. Lots of reasons why the numbers have dropped down, but I'm just going to level it down to at least 5 reasons why people are not flocking to see the movies as much as they used to, especially movies that has not been already labeled as major summer blockbusters or potential blockbusters for that matter. Let's first start with the 3D. Now, everybody who saw a few of my videos already should know I am not a fan of 3D movies. To me, there's nothing more than a gimmick. Their qualities are not great. I probably would not have a major issue if the price wasn't so damn high. To me, paying an extra $3 for a movie that might not be as good or not converted the way people expect it to be converted into 3D is just basically unconscionable to me. Movies like Avatar, that was a great 3D film. Other movies like Clash of the Titans and Last Airbender are a poor example of conversions that should never have been converted to 3D. It was just horrible. And the fact you're asking a lot of people to pay extra money for a film that may not be of quality that you're selling is just something I'm not going for, and apparently a lot of moviegoers ain't going for that either. Another thing about 3D that also I find surprised that a lot of producers of Hollywood seem to ignore is a health issue. For me, the 3D film that I saw last was Spy Kids, and it made me sick. Literally, gave me headache, nausea. I literally had to go home and rest just to get my thoughts back together because the 3D just clearly messed me up. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. There's a lot of health issues involving 3D that's for both adults and children, and yet they're pushing this 3D as if nothing's wrong. Another thing about 3D is that a lot of 3D movies are basically children's movies, which puts even more burden on the parents, where they got to fork in more money, and many parents are not willing to spend all that money for a 3D animated movie, especially where they have a feeling it's not going to be good. They rather just wait until it gets on DVD and then watch it in the comfort of home. But that's just one of many problems that I think that that why attendance has been so down this year. Another issue is the quality of movies. People are not willing to fork in a lot of money to watch a movie that has no originality in terms of story or basically an entertainment period. For example, is a film that you see like as a remake of a film that you already enjoy from yesteryear, you may not be hesitant to watch that film now or watch it under a different actor. Conan the Barbarian suffers greatly from that. Nobody really wanted to see the film the way it was asking for it. So when the film came out, it was doomed to fail because no one really can see nobody else but Arnold Schwarzenegger play that film. A lot of remakes are coming out, a lot of reboots are coming out, and some of these reboots are not worth taking a risk from. A lot of films this year that was remade didn't do too well. I think the only one that did okay was Footloose. That's it. Fright Night failed, and Conan failed, and they failed because nobody really knew or cared about these films, especially when it was such a long time ago that people still have the old classic versions on their mind. As for quality, A lot of people feel that Hollywood is running out of ideas. They're running out of originality. A lot of people can see that some of these films that are basically action films are taking, you know, clips or taking, notes from other action films. They can pretty much read that the storyline is from another movie they've seen previous, not too long ago, but probably just a few films ago. And so people were just basically saying, why should I see it? It's nothing original about it. So the quality of movies, the quality of acting, the quality of action all plays a part in people's wanting to see this movie or not wanting to see this movie or just wait to get on video. Another reason is, and this is kind of surprised some people when I said this, is people don't want to be in a crowded place with a lot of people sneezing on them, with loud kids who's not paying attention to the movie but basically talking throughout the film, people's on their cell phones, people being closed in a small tight environment. People don't want to deal with that anymore. People don't want to deal with all the noise, all the ruckus, or just being around people, period, and feel they can just stay at home and just basically watch the film there. Another reason is quite clearly people's feelings towards entertainment have changed. Not many people right now look at going to the movie theater as a cheaper way of entertainment. That's pretty much the thing of the past. Now we got cable, we got satellite, we have streaming, and people have this feeling, why pay all this money where I can sit down and watch that same film in the comfort of my own home with cheap popcorn that I bought from the store and even cheaper soda, which I bought as well, and just sit down and watch the film with the family and enjoy having that same feeling watching the film with the family, than going to a movie theater and spend almost $100 on food and the tickets as a whole. So that's something that many people are looking at, and streaming is definitely the wave of the future. Everybody's doing it now. Everybody's watching films online now. Everybody's watching the computers now, and so our feeling towards entertainment has changed greatly. Another thing that's also definitely is in the major role is the price in general. The price of concession and the price of the box office. People are more picky of what they choose to watch on theaters just on the price alone. Now I'm going to say this right now. I can only vouch for what the prices are in New York. I don't know what other prices are all other states, but in New York alone, an adult ticket in Manhattan costs $13.50. A child's ticket is $9.50. Senior citizen $6.50. That's in 2D movies. That's one ticket in each category. Now, if you have a 3D showing, that's going to cost you $4 extra. So now you're paying $17.50. You're paying $13.50 for a child, and you're paying about $3 extra. So that's like $9.50 for an adult. So that does pay off. It does pay off big time. As a whole, that's not good. It's not a good thing. Parents don't want to pay all that money, and they have to be picky at what films they have to choose because of expenses. And to be fair and honest, just by paying all that money, and I didn't even include the popcorn and sodas and the candy, which average $4 and up, that takes the fun experience away from the moviegoers, because they're just thinking about how much money they just spend, and they're saying this movie better be worth the price of admission. And if it's not, they're not going to think how bad the movie is. They're going to think how bad the movie is and how much he has to spend just to find out how bad that movie is. And for a person who's barely making a living, that's a lot of burden. Then people don't go to movies as used to be. I know people who only went to the movies once a year, twice a year if they're lucky. So it's a very big financial burden, which should never have been. Back then, when I used to go to the movie theaters, I used to go and average see like 5, 6 movies every 2 weeks. Now, it's not the case. I have to be picky because the movies are expensive, and to the point where, even if I want to see a movie, if it's not something that piques my interest right away or something I have to see for myself, I'm not going to see this movie. So that's just how that is. On a whole, do I feel that they can fix this trend? Yeah, I do. I think they could fix the trend big time. But they're going to have to really evaluate and really ask themselves, oh, this price is worth it. Because to me, they're pricing out the average moviegoer to get people who can actually afford to pay for these movies. And there's a reason, because let's be honest, the actor salaries, they range from anywhere from 5 to 7 million, 10 million if you're a megastar. And as a result, they're going to raise the ticket prices on that. We gotta also take consideration of the fact that the movie theaters that host these movies, their main source of profit isn't the tickets. I think they only get like about 10% of the ticket profits. They're getting their money over the popcorn concession stands. They're getting money over the sodas you buy, the chips you buy, the candy you buy. That's where their true profit comes from. They don't not make money off those ticket revenue. They get a small piece of whatever is being brought in, and it's unfortunate, but that's how it is. And they have to pretty much make their money elsewhere. So, in some way, I can understand why the things are priced the way it is, but then again, I still believe they could at least look at the situation and say, yo, we got to lower this because we're phasing people out. Another thing I bring up, and this is pretty much, in my opinion, a small thing, and that's piracy. I'm gonna say this now. I'm not for piracy. I understand why people are mad about people pirating their stuff, especially when they work long and hard for their stuff. That's their art. That they put into it. Whether you're a book writer, a musician, or an actor, producer, a writer, you should be able to publicize on your achievements. I got no problem with that. However, there's a trickle-down effect of why people pirate it. And a lot of stuff I bring up to the forefront just now on one of the main reasons why people do go to pirated stuff, because to them it's the only way they can see the same film that's out at a cheap price. Does it make it right? No, it don't. But to me, I think that if Hollywood is really serious about fighting piracy, that don't mean SOPA, because SOPA is not fighting piracy. It's basically internet censorship, and I already made that thing very clear in my previous videos. If they're really serious about fighting piracy, they need to look at their practice. They seriously do, and realize that, hey, we're charging a lot of money for a film that's not even, it's not even worth the quality. Why don't we at least lower it and give it to be where a person doesn't have to feel like he has to spend an arm and a leg just to see this movie, and make the movie going experience fun again. It's not fun anymore, and it's to the point now where people are just saying, to hell with this movie. Why wait to the movie? I just wait to get on DVD, or wait to get on Netflix, or wait to get on the internet, and I'll just watch it from there for the described service I got. And that's where we are right now with this situation. Another thing I will bring up, and then I'll close out from there, is that if they don't change some of their practices from both sides, it's going to probably hurt the movie theaters more than Hollywood. I don't see, and this is my honest opinion, I don't see the movie theaters lasting very long. In New York, we lost a lot of movie theaters. About 60% of our movie houses all pretty much gone. We only have, out of all the movie theaters that we do have, only 3% within the tri-state area still exist today. Independent movie theaters, that is. Movie theaters that are not like corporate movie theaters. Corporate movie theaters ain't building movie theaters in the city as much as they used to. Used to be a lot of times we can see a lot of theaters here. We used to have Lowe's, United Artists, and Cineplex Odeon. Cineplex is no longer in New York City. We still have United Artists, but they're few and far between. And we have MIM, AMC. But they're very, very small. It's not all over the place as it used to be. You really do have to look for a nearby movie house just to see a movie. And that's largely due to the fact is that it's no longer a major part of people's entertainment. Again, we have other ways of watching movies, other ways of watching TV shows, and with the way streaming is now, and the way movies are constantly coming out earlier into DVDs, I do not see the theaters, unless they change their practices. I do not see the theaters lasting no more than 30 years. After that, I think the theater's going to start to phase out and make way to new entertainment. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it a future for movie theaters too much longer, especially with the technology constantly improving. But the future is not here yet. We still got a long way down the road, and I could be wrong, but it all depends on how they change their business practices, and if people are still willing to, go to the movies along with their families and friends to see the film for the first time ever. But the way things are, I seriously doubt that's going to happen in the upcoming futures. What's your opinion on that? I'd like to know from your guys' point of view. Do you agree, disagree? Do you have your own reasons why people stop going to movie theaters? Do you think movie theaters will even be around in the next 20 or so years? Give me your comments, give me your opinion, give me your feedback. I always like to hear from you guys. Until then, this is J77 saying sign off.